What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's interesting watching the media so desperate now to try and rein in their biggest problem. That is, of course, Joe Rogan. And quite frankly, the free flow of information. This is what the mainstream media doesn't want. And when they can't stop it, they seek to discredit it. When they can't discredit it, they seek to deplatform it. When they can't deplatform it, they make up lies about it. And over the last couple of days, you've seen a couple stories come to light, including one hilariously trying to tie Joe Rogan losing, or try to tie Spotify losing 1.5 million followers to Joe Rogan's, quote, controversy, only to be rebuffed by facts, getting what's Shapiro's thing, destroyed by truth and logic. I don't know what it is anymore, but it just hilariously backfired for them. And even though Spotify stock continues to tank, mostly because they pulled ahead during the lockdown era, I don't really shed a tear. I don't really care for Spotify. They're still kind of this woke company that certainly does still censor when they find it convenient, although they do seem to look out for Joe Rogan, of course. But we're going to get into this hilarious fake news attempt by the media after a quick word from this video's sponsor, Sheath. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor. That's right, Sheath. These boxers are designed to keep your balls off your legs. Sheath has 3 individual compartments to keep everything down there separate and cool and comfortable. And hey, since they've been a long-time sponsor, I've heard from many of you who have tried out Sheath and really love it. They were invented by a U.S. Army soldier who came up with the idea for Sheath during his second tour in Iraq, where it was hot as heck and his boys needed to breathe. And on top of all sorts of awesome designs for Sheath, they've added all sorts of winter items, hoodies, gator necks, and all sorts of base layers. Head on over to the link in the description and pinned comment down below. Use my promo code to save and support the channel and keep everything nice, cool, and dry. Hey, a lot of people that have tried them out really do enjoy them. They're a strong supporter of the channel. They don't say what I can and can't put my put their ads in, so maybe give them a try. I know dudes don't really think about switching it up very often, but I have a feeling you might be happy you did. So there's an article in Variety that came out and said, Spotify sees 1.5 million subscriber cancellations amid the everything going on with Russia. Impact of Joe Rogan controversy minimal, CFO indicates. Spotify says Joe Rogan not to blame as it loses 1.5 million subscribers. Spotify denies losing 1.5 million followers to Joe Rogan issues. Like, they have a fact to report, a factoid, right? And that is that, hey, we lost some followers due to X. What does the media say? Joe Rogan! It must be because of Joe Rogan. And when it's not about Joe Rogan, their literal headline is about it not being about Joe Rogan. You can't make this insanity up. Going through a little controversy, but there's always going to be some impact, says Spotify's CEO. Spotify's loss of 1.5 million paying subscribers in 2022 supposedly has more to do with Russia and Ukraine than Neil Young's battle against Joe Rogan. The streaming giant downgraded its subscriber growth projections for the first quarter of the year, but Chief Financial Officer Paul Vogel suggested Rogan, without mentioning him by name, was not the reason. Well, duh. Imagine a Rogan subscriber getting mad about some journo on the internet getting mad and then unsubscribing from Joe Rogan's show. Like, that's not who listens to Joe Rogan. Quote, going through a bit of controversy, there's always going to be some impact, Vogel said, according to Variety. But the suspension of premium services in Russia is expected to cost the streaming giant 1.5 million subscribers, he told Morgan Stanley's 2022 Technology Media Telecom Conference on Wednesday. Spotify refused to buckle to a sustained public pressure combined a campaign to remove the Joe Rogan experience from its platform. Musician Wash Up Neil Young, by the way, still has some great music. Still enjoy playing his records and listening when people play it and hearing it on the radio. gave Spotify a choice of kicking Rogan off the platform or else removing his music catalog from the after the comedian hosted interviews with people he didn't like. Musicians like Joni Mitchell and Taylor Swift issued similar threats, while content creators like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who I believe have one episode on the platform, expressed concern. Grammy-winning singer India Ari said that she would remove her music from Spotify after she's the one that circulated the video of Rogan using the word several times out of context. Spotify made a small concession with the inclusion of a COOF information hub, but Chief Executive Daniel Ek said during a town hall meeting with the comedian that he would remain on air despite strongly disagreeing with him on many issues. While Spotify stopped premium subscription services in Russia, along with closing its offices and removing RT and Sputnik news services, Mr. Vogel said the company would not disable the service entirely in the country. A Spotify spokesperson said that the business loss is from its reduced Russian operations, less than 1% of the company's revenue, Variety reported. Let me translate that to you in a way that is hilarious. The collective power of Neil Young, India Ari, Taylor Swift, Meghan Markle, by the way, take her back, United Kingdom, all stumping to remove Joe Rogan had zero effect. Zero. It had zero effect. The all-powerful, the almighty Neil Young, India Ari, Grammy Award winner, had zero impact. And I can't I feel like I don't want to understate this. Hopefully what this will do is show other platforms that they don't have to worry about the outrage mob. Like, the CEO of Spotify is literally saying that the cancel culture mob failed. And that the collective interest of even some of their biggest artists on the platform failed. People were not motivated to go cancel their premium services. All the people on Twitter talking about how they were doing it were lying, or their numbers were vastly insignificant. In fact, what doesn't get talked about enough is that all this hullabaloo about Joe Rogan and how evil he is definitely drives new users to the platform. So every time Joe Rogan says something spicy and people lose their mind about it, what does that do? Well, that generates a lot of interest in what he's saying. And why is this guy the most evil person alive? Like, why is this guy the most evil man alive? Why is everyone saying I shouldn't listen to him? So they sign up and they listen. And then what happens is they realize that maybe they disagree with something he says here or there, but he's nowhere near as bad as everyone said he was. And thus begins the cycle again of the media losing insane amounts of credibility because they don't have a truth first investigative journalism slant to them anymore. They literally need to fill content 24 hours a day. There just isn't enough important stuff going on every day for you to do that. So what do? They went from reporting on the news to, in my opinion, creating the news. Creating fake outrage, then reporting on the fake outrage that they created, then reporting on the effects of the fake outrage that they reported on that they also created, and then the cycle just keeps continuing. I see it because I cover it here on YouTube, and then I do a post-mortem on it, and I go back and I think, like, okay, now we've kind of reached the end. We've reached the end of the kind of this most recent cycle of Joe Rogan madness. By the way, there are some rumors circulating online right now that Donald Trump has signed on to do the Joe Rogan podcast. I have not been able to independently confirm that, but if that's true, 3 hours of unfiltered Donald Trump, it'd be awesome if he sparked a do, but I know he probably wouldn't. Maybe he'd have a 13 or 14 Diet Cokes, I suppose. But like 3 hours unfiltered Donald Trump on Spotify might be the most hilarious thing ever. And look, people get it twisted when I talk about Trump. Like, I think that, whether or not you voted for him, when he was in office, he had like very little chance of actually getting anything done because he had many of his own party that were just never Trumpers, right? So I look at what he was able to accomplish in office, and it isn't as much as I would have wanted. My biggest gripe about him is his over 4 years, he basically ignored Section 230 and the tech giants that ultimately silenced him, even though he told us that he was going to address that. Like, I don't hold the wall against him, even though somehow Republicans now found, I don't know, 15 billion to defend Ukraine's borders, but they didn't have 5 billion to protect our own. But that's neither here nor there. That's why people think I'm a Republican. Like, bro, listen to me, watch my videos, watch my tweets. The Republicans are just as garbo, okay? But anyway, I digress. Essentially what we found is that the media created this. They created this controversy, and it had zero effect. It had zero net effect on Joe Rogan's show, and I couldn't be happier. Just remember this, CEOs out there. The media is not as powerful as you think it is. It can be if you let it. But if you listen to your customers, the ones that are actually paying you, not the people who are posting screenshots on Twitter about their canceled subscription from Spotify that they just took from somebody else's Twitter. If you actually listen to your customers, you'll do right. Now, their stock is absolutely tanking, but that's, basically been the case for the last month. You could see it was peaked at almost $170 a share. It's all the way down to $125. If you go 6 months, it peaked during lockdowns, late November last year, almost $300 a share, and it's done nothing but go down to 125. It's been an absolute brutal decline, down 50% in the last 6 months. But I don't think that's because of Joe Rogan. I really don't. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.